Hello everybody, welcome back to another video with Kat about Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to talk about how to get through all of the bosses that are involved in the current Doom Tower Dark FAE lineup. So Dark FAE is probably the most important boss to fight in Doom Tower because of the materials, because of the artifact crafting materials that you get from defeating her. So we're going to talk about what you need in order to get through it, all of the bosses, all 4 of them, and some champions that I recommend that are fairly early game or easy to attain that can help you, or just some things to keep in mind when you are building the team to fight them. So several of those champions are available through the link in my description if you want to get started with Raid Shadow Legends or start a brand new account. Corrado Fox Hunter comes in instantly. Yugo is an epic support champion you get at level 15. This created monster hits your account at level 30 and they just pop right into your inbox. And then Deacon Armstrong is going to be a big player today. He comes in at level 40. We love him for this. Plus, use the promo code Monkey King to get Sun Wukong. So let's talk about why we want to get through Dark FAE. So when you get through Dark FAE, you get the lethal, you get pieces for the lethal set. And the lethal set is a crit rate plus 10%. Now, I have a hard time building crit rate sometimes, and it's nice to have it built into the set. But main piece of this is that it also ignores 25% of enemy defense. Now, we know ignore defense is kind of more of a late game focus, and it's really, really helpful for doing more damage, and especially getting through some of these bigger bosses. So whenever she rolls around as the main focus of Doom Tower, you are going to want to give her a lot of attention. So she's up here at the top. You're going to go through 4 different bosses because the pieces of this artifact set are so important. You're going to be up against some toughies. Now, it's so bad that I can't even do hard mode on this. You can see I got my hard mode. I got to the first boss. Couldn't do it. I got stuck. So then I had to switch over to normal. And that's how I recommend doing it. See how far you can get in hard. And once you hit a stopping point and you can't get any further, then just switch over to normal mode. So we start with Bommel. Then we have Scarab King, then the Celestial Griffin, and then Dark FAE herself. And that's going to keep rotating in that order until you get to the very tippy top and you fight Dark FAE once again. So we're going to talk about how to get through each of these bosses, starting with Bommel. So Bommel is a pain in the ass. The thing to keep in mind with Bommel is that he places bombs. And on top of all of those bombs, he places a bunch of debuffs. So best way to get through this is you want champions that can decrease accuracy. And you want to be able to, if you can, champions that will block damage or having unkillable buffs. But mainly the way to get through it is to freeze. So I have a champion in my roster. Where is he? All right, so Yakarl, who is a free champion that you can get through by spending gold in the clan shop. So you can build him up over time. And he is a really useful champion in this situation. So he places those freeze debuffs that you need. And he can be incredibly helpful here. Now, another way of doing this is to play with turn meter a little bit, but we're going to go with the classic way of managing this. We have Lilitu here because she has crazy high resistance, and she brings in healing plus a full team revive. Geomancer is one of those champions that I pretty much always keep in my roster for fighting bosses, especially Doom Tower bosses. He's really helpful. He also has his AoE, his A1 is an AoE decrease accuracy, so that helps with preventing those debuffs. Now Donatello is here because he is going to do some healing and some he's going to do some speed up and some healing and try to keep those bombs speed us up so we can do as much damage as possible before the bombs go off. Now Fabian is pretty much here just for the waves, and there's something to keep in mind with all of these bosses is this is not something to do on auto, especially not Dark FAE, and you'll see why. So we're going to work through the Bommel, and we're going to show how that goes. I run it on auto up until the second round. Okay, so now that we get to the second round, I turn it off auto, and then I basically just do A1 on everybody on automatically, and I don't even worry. The reason we're doing this manually is because we want to save specific attacks for the Bommel himself. So we're basically just building up we're reducing all of our cooldowns. We're getting ourselves back into the groove. And now we can go after him. Okay, so we're going to give ourselves attack up and a block debuff. So that's going to help tremendously. Now, I don't believe... Yeah, so Fabian is also here to play Smite because we want to get through that damage as quickly as possible. This is not going to do very much. I don't think we're going to do Petrification. He blocks a lot of those debuffs, but if we need to, Donatello is going to give us a cleanse, but we don't need it at the moment. Even the turn meter, I'm still going to save this. And so we're just going to do as much damage as possible. Now, I do want to try to decrease his accuracy right off the bat, and we've got our first bomb. So I am actually going to save this because this has a really high cooldown, 5 turns. We want to do a freeze debuff on everybody, but that bomb isn't going to go off immediately. So I'm going to keep doing my damage on the Bommel first. But he is going to drop another bomb soon, so I want to have that ready. And 2 bombs. Perfect. All right. Problem is, we're also going to get some of those bomb debuffs, and unfortunately that's protected, so Geomancer's just going to have to take it. Just have to be a pro and take it. And so we got some speed up. Okay. So I want to place some HP burn. I don't want to touch the bombs at the moment. Now, we do also decrease turn meter. Okay, now would be a great time for your Carl to take a turn. What are you doing, your Carl? There we go. All right, so now that we have all the bombs, I played it a little close to the chest on this one, but now we can attack everybody, and that freeze is going to help remove... It's going to reduce the amount of damage that they do, and we might be able to get through it, and no bombs went off. Okay, so this is also the easiest one. It's going to get a lot more difficult as we get higher and higher in Doom Towers, so just keep that in mind, but that's the basic strategy. This guy, Scarab King, is also a big pain in the butt, but the way to get through him is actually a lot more simple. You just need to be attacking him with champions that have shield. So, again, we've got Geomancer and Fabian because I just enjoyed... They're great for Doom Tower in general. But any champion that can do shield is super helpful. Michelangelo was a free login champion. He is incredibly helpful with Scarab King. Also, Visix, who is eventually a free login champion, on the daily login calendar that exists in Raid Shadow Legends, you get her... I don't remember how long. Editor Cat's going to put it right over here. How many days you need to log in before you get her. But fantastic champion, especially for Scarab King. All right, so now that we get into Scarab King, idea is to have as many shields as possible. Not veil, shields. So that comes, in Lilitu's case, that comes from she applies a shield to herself and the champion with the least amount of HP. Fabian's not going to do much in this situation. He can decrease turn meter, but the fact is that Scarab King is going to attack you anytime he's attacked by somebody who doesn't have a shield. So we're going to have Geomancer and Fabian are going to take some hits until Lilitu starts putting those shields on. But fortunately, Michelangelo and Visix are going to self-shield, and Geomancer gives us that HP burn. That's also a debuff application and not an attack, so it technically keeps him safe. So Mikey is just going to basically keep that shield the entire time because he's placing it on himself when he gets hit. And you essentially have to just slowly eat away at him.
8 hours later.
And there we go. All right, so that one took a minute. You could see it took me about 5 minutes. I was manually doing it. All right, Celestial Griffin, out of all of these, tends to be the easiest for me. I basically just go through... I don't want to be that person who's saying, just use your 4 turtles, because I'm not assuming anyone does. But what I do recommend, I basically just strong arm my way through it. I use my heaviest hitters every single time. So in this case, that is Alice and Sun Wukong. I'll throw in Thor and Tholin. This one I can do on auto. So Celestial Griffin, in my experience, is one of those bosses that you can just go hard and fight your way through. Same with and all of those champions are really good for getting through those waves. We've got a lot of AoE attacks, especially Alice. Goddamn. And you'll see, we're just gonna fight our way through it. See, God, Alice is incredible here. Yeah, that was stupid fast. Probably it looks like it's the fastest I've ever done that. So Celestial Griffin's not a big deal. Okay, so now we are in Pièce de Résistance. Okay, so Dark Fae. I know it's taken us a minute to get here. Dark Fae is a pain in the ass. What you are going to bring in here is you are going to bring in your arena team. You want everyone who has turn meter reduction, slowing the enemy, speeding up you. Everybody who can do that is who you want to bring in. When you start with Dark Fae, you get a set of clones who are all your exact champions with the exact same stats. So you basically have to fight yourself, and that's why I recommend using your arena team, because arena teams tend to have the same meta. It's a lot of speed, it's a lot of increased cooldown. So using that same philosophy is going to help you get through Dark Fae here. So Deacon Armstrong is a huge help here. Sun Wukong will steal buffs and will block buffs from coming in. He also does a heavy amount of damage on everybody. Alice, as you saw, also does a heavy amount of damage, plus her A2 will do an increased cooldown on everybody. So that means basically all those clones are limited only to their A1. And this one is the most important for you to turn it off auto when you get to round 2. Now you want to save all of your cooldowns so we can manually get through all of those nasty little clones. And especially if we can take as long as possible getting through this, that would be great. And as much as I'm tempted to use that A3, I'm just not going to. I'm just not going to. All right, so we're just going to go slowly through everything. Rebuild our cooldowns, especially the one for Deacon Armstrong, because and Fabian's A1 also has a decreased turn meter. So basically anyone you can bring in who builds your speed, reduces their speed, that's going to be your best friend. You are not going to be able to do anything to Dark Fae until you get through these guys, so as long as you can go first, you can boost your own turn meter, decrease theirs, and now everybody gets defense down. Now Fabian is going to be massive help, a lot of increased cooldowns, and we can petrify somebody. I know now I don't want them to take a turn. I'm tempted to go between Deacon Armstrong and Fabian, but I think I want to just make sure they don't do anything. So I want Deacon Armstrong not doing anything. Okay, I think I want to decrease accuracy on everybody. I don't want them doing any of their... I don't want them placing any of the buffs and debuffs that I can't. I don't want them to be able to do the same as me. Now they're going to go a little bit, and now Alice is going to come in with her A2, decrease everybody's cooldown, take out a big chunk of damage, and you'll notice that Sun Wukong is going to self-revive the same way that yours does. So just imagine that you are fighting against your own team. How would you take out your own team? All right, so the other nasty thing that she does is she will bring back one of the champions, and then yours is null and void. So Alice is out at the moment. We are getting pretty close, though, so I might give her an HP burn so that the next time she takes a turn, she takes a bunch of damage. And Sun Wukong. Perfect. Okay. Now, that looked really easy, but that is going to be way more difficult as time goes on, so just keep that in mind. But it is so worth it to get these phase spheres to build your lethal gear. That ignored defense makes a huge difference as you get later in the game. So that's everything to keep in mind. Let me know if you have any questions or suggestions for all of these bosses down in the comments below. And if you want some of these champions to help you get through it, use the link in my description to get started with your account. Corrado Fox Hunter is a good attack champion. Yugo is a great support, especially does a lot of defense down and some healing. Miscreated Monster is a great tank. Deacon Armstrong you saw with all of his turn meter manipulation, and then use the promo code Monkey King for Sun Wukong to muscle your way through. But that's everything I have. Thank you guys again for being here, and I will see you in the next video.